What do you think drives your engagement?
I think people are just fascinated how I start with like a blank slate and then create a piece of art on items. If I post a video showing from like beginning to end, people are amazed. But if I just show the end product, they don't know what it took to get to it.
Daddy, can I play the music now? Where did we go?
You know that I got love for my kinfolk, my blood. Through the thick and thin, we hit no matter.
This is me and Daddy here, and Jenny also. And we're here to teach you something. Founded by So Your Grind. And goes a little something like this. Take it over, Daddy.
Welcome to Family Abide, So Your Grind. This is a podcast series highlighting lessons learned by the hard knocks and by grace. My name is Robert E. Mesker Jr. and my co-host is Divine Lee, aka D. Lee. Our podcast intersects between the culture, faith, family, and finance. Episode 19, Artistic Then a Mug. On today's show, we're talking to RaRa by Rashida Cotton as she transitions from a secure government job to walking in her purpose as an entrepreneur and visual artist. She also talks about not being scared to grow out of her comfort zone, to bring customers' visions to life on any surface. Enjoy.
Good morning. How you doing? My name is Robert Metzger. We're here with Family Abide, and today we have a special guest, Rashida Cotton, who is an artist and has her own line of custom-made clothes, RaRa by Rashida Cotton. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So you have a lot going on right now.
Yeah, I just opened up a new location. I'm excited.
You're just opening up a new opening up a new location. A lot of things going. So tell me a little bit about yourself, the woman behind RaRa, and how did you find your artistic path?
I did art since I was young, so I was always like doodling, drawing, and whatnot. But I tried to go the graphic design route, but I didn't really like the whole staring at computer screens all day long. So then I went back to being a visual artist in college, and that's kind of where I started.
When you were growing up, did you think it was more of a hobby, or did you think you were going to kind of make a career out of this?
I used to want to be an art teacher, and then I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then the only way I figure I can make money doing art is open my own business.
Did you have anybody in your family or any artists that had went the entrepreneurship route before you, and how nervous did that make you?
No, I kind of just jumped into it because I used to work full time, and then I didn't like the job, and I was doing full time college too, and it was stressful. So I quit my job to do school full time, and then to focus on art. And that's kind of how I kind of forced myself to be an entrepreneur.
What were you doing initially? Because today, a lot of times people working their jobs and they want to jump into something or follow their passion, but they don't feel confident about doing it. What were you doing initially in your 9-to-5, and what made you feel comfortable jumping into visual arts?
I used to work for the government. So I had like a real like structured type job that I didn't really like. And then all my bosses and everybody at the job was like, why are you here? You're talented. Why are you here? So that was kind of like to get me out. But then when I left, they were like, well, why are you leaving us? I'm like, because you told me to go pursue art. That's what I'm going to go do.
Oh, man. Were you surprised that people were kind of, telling you to pursue that passion? A lot of times people was like, well, you got a good government job, girl. Just, go ahead, ride it out for 25 years and,
Nah, okay. I was
keep
there
your
for
benefits.
It was good benefits, but I was there for like 4 or 5 years. Now, some people said stay, other people said leave. So my mother, she was kind of like, go part-time. I'm like, but I don't like it at all. Why go part-time? Because I used to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Like I had to be there at work at 5 and then school by like 2 o'clock. It was just a lot. So I told her, I said, either I'm going to quit school or I'm going to quit my job. Which one do you want me to get rid of? I can always get another job somewhere, but if I leave school, I'm probably not gonna go back.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to kind of paint people into the corner to see what they really want you to do. Um, so we're gonna go all the way back. So where did you grow up, and like, did you grow up in an artistic household, or kind of tell us about your childhood?
Not really. My sister dances, and then my other sister does music, so kind of. But when we were young, she was the only one that did dance, and then I kind of did dance a little bit, but I didn't like that either. But I was always drawing. I had drawn some back when I was like 7 and like 6 of just little paintings and stuff and little doodles that I always did. So I was always an artsy child. Our household, I guess you could say, was artsy. I was homeschooled, so my mother kind of tailored us to what we liked at the time, but then also taught us the educational stuff too. So maybe that's where the artsy came from. I don't know.
Do you think the homeschooling allowed you to be more creative, or do you think that would have been a little bit different if you were like in a more of a structured school setting?
It probably allowed me to be more creative than being in a structured school setting, probably.
Okay. And did most of your siblings do homeschooling, or or you kind of?
We were all so I was homeschooled I went to public school at 9th grade. My 2 older sisters, one went in 10th grade, and I think the other one went in 9th grade. So she was kind of done with us homeschooling. She said we need to go and meet people and whatever for high school. I didn't want to go, but I went. But yeah, we were homeschooled, and then she also had like homeschool groups and stuff. So we still got exposure to other kids and music and whatnot. So I think it was more of a balance where we learned, but we also got like music and dance and art in the mix too.
That's great. And where did you grow up again? You grew up in the Maryland area?
Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore, Maryland. Okay. And so when you went to high school, were there a lot of resources in your high school setting as far as, arts and visual artists or performing artists?
I took 1 art class while I was there, and that was it. Everything
Surprising.
else, I went to magnet school, so everything else was focused around what your magnet was, and I was graphic design. So we didn't really, we drew stuff, but everything was basically like, you're on the computer, and that's it. The 1 art class I did, back then I didn't really take art that seriously, so I didn't really take the art class that seriously. It wasn't really like a big deal for me because I thought I was going to be a graphic designer, so that was like my go-to, what I focused on, but then I realized I didn't like it.
So, you kind of graduate, you've been working, you're talented. How did you said that you didn't like looking at a computer screen, but was there like one specific thing to say, hey, you know what, I want to do more painting and visual arts? Because traditionally now it seems like a lot of people are doing more stuff on the computers and more graphic design. What was that for you to make you say, hey, you know what, I just got to make this switch?
So I was in college, and I had it was a 2D class, and that's when I took painting seriously, because we had one project we had to paint on a canvas, and that was the moment where it's like, okay, I can do this. And then that's when I switched to taking more art classes and trying to like switch over my my major to be a fine artist.
And you feel like that is when you started developing your niche, or did that just take time as far as, kind of creating what you do now?
I had one project that I think that's what I knew how to actually paint like seriously. I still have the painting. It's a painting that we had to learn how to do like different shading and blendings. That's when I knew I knew how to paint, when I could actually do something with it.
So, all right. So now you decided to take painting seriously. A lot of times people are kind of discouraged. My wife's a dancer. They kind of discourage artists because they say that it's hard to make a living in that career. how did you build your brand? So you went from, hey, okay, I'm graduating school to now I'm an artist and I got to build my brand. How did you go about that? And was it a conscious decision or was it something that just happened over time?
It happened while I was in college. So I started when I was in college. I technically started painting in 2013, but I didn't start my business till 2018, which is the year I graduated. So I was
Mm.
doing it in between while taking classes and whatnot.
You know, during this time, social media is starting to come into more of a mainstream. Did you kind of build your target demographic through social media, or how did you initially, start, selling your art?
It was through Instagram. That was when the algorithm actually worked for you versus now. So it actually showed my art to people, like unlike now. Because I made a business page, and then from there, like some things I used to do some stuff for free just to get myself out there. I used to do shows more often back then. So over time, it kind of
Mm,
just built up. A lot of it was word of mouth though, along with Instagram,
mm,
but mainly Instagram. And then probably maybe 2 years ago, I started doing TikTok and everything, and then Facebook and Twitter, all that. But it's mainly social media, especially for people who
mm.
don't live in Maryland. Now, Maryland people is more like word of mouth, or they just happen to
Okay.
follow somebody who follows me. But social media
Mm.
is a big part. I don't think I'd be where I am if I didn't have social media.
How did you learn how to navigate social media and to make it work for you? Because a lot of people are on social media, but they don't know how
Mm-hmm.
to monetize it. They don't know how to leverage it. They don't know how to use the platform. How did you go about it? Was it just trial and error?
It was trial and error. I'm still doing trial and error. I'm still trying to figure because every time they change something, and you gotta keep up with it. It's just trial and error.
Mm,
I
mm.
literally just posted
So,
stuff, and if it did something, then I was telling people, well, share this post to see if somebody gonna see it. I used to pay for ads, but I found out that paying for ads kind of makes your engagement go down some, so I stopped that.
okay. What do you feel? And I heard you using the key business terms, engagement. What do you think drives your engagement? Like, is it like a personal story connected to you? Is it how you're developing certain stories behind the pieces of art? Like, what do you think drives your engagement?
I think people are just fascinated how I start like a blank slate and then I create a piece of art on items. I think that's what it is. Because if I post a video showing from like beginning to end, people are amazed. But if I just show the end product, they don't know what it took to get to it.
Mm, that's for real life too, because a lot of times people look at you and say, "Oh, well, she's always had this many followers and was always doing this," and they don't realize the journey that comes along with
Yeah.
getting from one spot to the next. So, what advice would you give visual artists today who's trying to come down a similar path as you?
You just have to start for one and put yourself out there. If I never put myself out there,
Mm,
nobody would ever know what I can do. And I would have known what I can do. Because just from taking different like orders and commissions, I've grown from the beginning. 'Cause I did my old work and I'm like, oh, that looks awful. I would never. But
mm,
now I'm actually proud of what I produce. They just have to try
mm.
and practice for real.
You were probably proud at the time what you were producing. You just got better.
Back then I was proud, but I look at it now, I'm like, what was I proud of and why do people like it? That was not it. I hate looking at my old work.
Uh, I think artists are their toughest critique. They always critique themselves harder than other people do.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
noticed every single little imperfection. Another like, oh, I don't see nothing. You don't see that right there? No.
um, what was the hardest financial lesson you experienced while building your business and your brand, and how did it change you?
Mm, I guess dealing with taxes. That's still confusing.
Mm,
That's still something that I'm like, I'm gonna give you this money. I hope it's right. I don't really know, but I hope I'm doing it right. I still just struggle with that. And then especially like at the end of the year and whatnot. I don't like taxes. That's probably the hardest financial thing having to figure out.
Mm. And growing up, I guess in the 9 to 5, they just take out taxes regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So how different is that compared to like now you got to kind of set up your own, like how much you're taking out and structures around that? Did you just have to find and put a team around you to help you with that? Or did you kind of just get better over time?
I just learned myself. You just have to know to put the money aside. Don't touch it because you know it's not yours technically. It's going to them. But nobody really helped me with that. I figured it out.
Did you get hit hard one year and then you kind of like, I got to change this, you know?
Yeah, because I didn't put the money aside throughout the year, and I was like, oh, so y'all want that much? Okay. I learned my lesson now. You can have it as we go along. Don't do that again.
Yeah. How important is collaboration and networking for visual artists?
See, I'm one of those artists who I don't like to collaborate. It's just a preference thing. Some artists love it, and I'm like, it reminds me of like a group project where one person does more than the other. So that's not really my thing. Now networking, I'll network. I'll go to events and I'll talk to people and whatnot, but collaborating.
How do you network in the artistic field? Like I know you said you did a couple of shows and that kind of helped build your brand. Like how were you able to network and kind of manage to get your pieces in front of more people?
I just did a lot of like pop-up shops and vending events in the beginning. Now I do I vend every Sunday. So that kind of helps. Even if people don't buy, they're still looking and then they're still taking information. So potentially down the road, it might be customers. I don't really focus on, okay, I'm a vend, I'm gonna make sales. I'd rather you come, you check it out, you take a car, you follow me or something, and then, tell your friends and family. So vending is very important. Even if you just go to any show, really is important, because any show you don't know who's really gonna be there. I've had stuff sold at events that I'm like, okay, I didn't expect this person to come and pay X amount of dollars for it. So you never really know.
And how do you determine your prices for your pieces? Like that's also very interesting. Like kind of you said, because art is one of those things where it's worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. How did you kind of determine? Obviously, I know a lot of times people, as they get better with their craft, it's natural to elevate prices. But how did you kind of set your value for the prices and products that you do?
Well, when I started off real low, just because I wanted the clientele, I wanted the customer, I wanted the business. I needed the time to grow and whatnot. Now it's more so how long it takes me, how big it is, how detailed it is. I still try to be like reasonable. I'm not, some artists be charging like ridiculous amounts of money for stuff. I don't think I ever do that because that's just crazy. But I just price it based on, size too, just based on what you want. And how long I think it's going to take me to do it.
Is there certain things that you like more? Because you do a wide variety of stuff. You do shoes, you do clothing, you just do regular, murals and pictures. Like, is there certain like things that you actually like to do more, or not particularly?
I like to do graduation caps more. Now I like to do walls more, like murals and whatnot. So I'm trying to target that audience right now for murals and walls more than probably the rest of my art.
How did you get into doing murals and walls? As far as, I know you got to do your space and some other spaces, but how did you realize that was something you actually liked?
Well, I did my first wall at a chiropractor office, And that was probably like,
Mm.
oh, okay, that was the first, I didn't know what I was doing at the moment. I charged him a reasonable price. I don't like to charge people a lot of money if I never did it before. So he was kind of
Okay.
like my tester. And once I did that, I'm like, oh, I can actually paint on walls. Oh, the paint sticks to the walls, not peeling. Cool. I can do this. That was the first thing I want to start doing that more.
Okay. As you did it, what was it that you liked compared to other items? Because it probably takes longer, right?
It depends on what you're painting on it. I think his wall took me like maybe a week to do, and it was just kind of like just words and color basically, and then like it was like a design around the borders. So it wasn't that bad. It didn't take that long.
Okay. What is one thing you wish you knew about money growing up that you didn't know?
To save. My mother used to always tell
Mm,
me, but I'm like, why am I saving money now? I'm young. What do I need to save money for? Now I wish I had started saving and listening when I was young. Because you don't
mm,
really understand money when you're at a young age. It's just okay, it's money, it's gonna come again. Or I'm gonna get some more from my parents
mhm,
or something. It wasn't a thing of I need to save just in case of the future or whatnot. Now I'm
mhm.
all about saving money.
And was there one particular thing that's like, all right, I need to make sure I'm saving, or was it just like, hey, you know, life is just like, hey, I want to do something. I need to have some resources to do it.
Well, now because I'm self-employed, I don't really have what is it called when you get from your job? Like retirement, I don't have that. So I kind of
Okay.
have to create that now. It's not like
Mm.
I'm gonna get old, I'm gonna get Social Security necessarily because I'm self-employed. So I really have like
How
a fall.
how do you manage when you obviously when you're entrepreneur and probably when you're artist, you probably have an irregular pay schedule. You might have a big project, you get paid a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
then maybe like for the next 2 or 3 weeks, you don't get a lot of income. Uh, what are some of the things that you've learned how to manage that irregular pay cycle?
I don't even know if I necessarily learned how to manage it yet. I kind of just go with the flow, and
Mm-hmm.
just know that it's gonna come. The bills will be paid and the
Mm-hmm.
money's gonna come. I stress about it, but I try not to stress about it because it
Mm.
always seems to work out.
That's good. That's good. Did you have you developed or found other entrepreneurs that you end up talking to, as you started to do this more to kind of see what their experiences were? Or is it one of those things where, you still just kind of learning and researching and doing stuff on your own?
Um, I have like a group of like artist friends on Instagram, like social media, but I've never necessarily met them. None of them necessarily live here. They usually come to me for advice. I don't necessarily have the person that I go to for advice. I just figure it out, or I research or Google something. Like people look up to me. I'm like, well, I want somebody to look up to because I'm like you. I'm trying to figure it out too.
Yeah. So how important is that mentorship? Because, people, it seems like, you kind of turned into a mentor for some up and coming or other artists, but how was it important, or what would have mentorship in this field help you do?
It might help me advance better, learn business better. I probably wouldn't have had to go through certain things if somebody had said, well, you should do this and you should do that. Don't do this, do that. I just had to learn it on my own. So now people are coming to me. I'm
Mm.
like, well, I learned it on my own. I helped you, but I went through the struggle.
Do you feel that going through the fire helps a little bit more? Like if somebody, because sometimes it's hard. If somebody would have told you maybe 5 or 6, 7 years ago, because you haven't had that experience, you don't know if you would have listened. You might listen a little bit, or you might listen a lot. Do you feel like going through the fire is a better teacher than actually sometimes, people telling you what to do
I
or
mean, it's more
advising you?
hands-on. You're gonna appreciate stuff more because you went through it. I probably wouldn't have listened to somebody if somebody said do it like this or do it like that, because I'm kind of stubborn. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do and I'm gonna figure it out. But I probably would have. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's hypothetical questions, so it's one of those things. How supportive were your family and friends when you were going into this transition? Because that's oftentimes I hear from artists that it seems like people who may not know you may end up valuing some of the work more, maybe initially than, friends and families, especially for minority communities. Because I hate to say it, we're always looking for the hookup. So, how do you deal with friends and families either looking for the hookup, and then also how did you deal with that as far as just transitioning or giving advice in what you're doing now?
I get more support from strangers than I get family and friends. Like my family and friends, I don't really do anything for them. They don't really ask. I don't really like, I'm not gonna offer if I don't know you want something, or if I don't know like an event is coming up and you want something. But they're still supportive. Like they show up for different events and whatnot. They'll tell people what I do. It's just some of them get stuff done. For the most part, no. But I'm big on I'm gonna paint you something, I'm gonna gift it to you. So either way, you still gonna get something from me. But for the most part, everybody's been supportive. My mother's probably been the biggest supporter. My sister too. I don't know. You need support to keep you going. Without it, you kind of gonna crumble. You kind of need people saying like you're doing good. Because being an artist is hard. It's one of those things where if you don't have nobody supporting you, you kind of feel like, I don't know, you're not. I guess you're not. Not that you're not good enough, but like you should go down the traditional path of life.
And how do you deal with people asking for a hookup or a discount?
No.
I mean, I know your prices are not.
I tell them no.
Did you have to learn how to say that, or was that just natural for you?
I think in the beginning, I used to try to like give people a deal just because I wanted your business. Now it's kind of like, okay, I've been doing this for a while. I know I have the talent. Even if you can't afford even if people can't afford me, I then refer you to somebody else. That's like, if you still want something done, I don't mind telling people, okay, well, I do this amount, but you can go to this person and they might do it for less. But I tell people, no, like the price is the price. It is what it is. We can work with something within your budget, but the price not going to change.
Yeah. How did you get your voice to be strong enough to say that? Because sometimes people don't, challenge, especially women of color, they don't feel, imposter syndrome is real. They might not have had those experiences where people say, hey, you need to do what you need to do. Like, because a lot of times my wife always says like, some people, they're just not, they don't have any concern about just charging you. Hey, this is what it is. Yeah. But, sometimes haven't had those experiences. You don't feel as comfortable doing that.
I think that came from me doing events, because every event I do, I have somebody be like, you charge how much for that? I'm like, yeah, it's hand painted. You can't buy it in the store. It's a one-on-one. This amount. That probably helped me kind of not care that people are like, oh, you're expensive. It's just the people who say that are the ones who don't realize what it takes to make it. And then even if they tried to make it, it's going to cost you a whole bunch of money in supplies. And then it may or may not look good. So either you pay it or you don't. It don't bother me anymore. It used to.
Has anyone come up to you and say, hey, you should charge more for what you do?
I've had people say that too. It's
how does that feel on the other end?
It feels good, because to me that means they actually appreciate and value art. It's just you don't get necessarily those people a lot.
What is the one thing you would tell your younger self about relationship between money and art? And how do you value your work?
charge what you're going to charge, and then just put in the work, because eventually the money from the art will come. Because in the beginning, I wasn't really making any money. Like, I went from a government job to barely making money, and it was a big switch. I was like, oh, this not the same. But the money will always come, and sometimes you have to try different outlets. Like, I started out on canvases. Canvases wasn't really making money. I saw some people were painting on shoes. I said, oh, let me dabble in shoes. Then that turned into, I'm going to paint on bags. I'm going to paint on jackets, tables, furniture, whatever, just so I know that it's always coming in. And then technically I still do like graphic design stuff. Like, I still do logos, make flyers or whatever, because that's another way that the money comes in. I kind of have like multiple streams of income within my business, just so I know it's always money coming.
So something big for you, personally, you just got your own physical space. Can you kind of walk us through the transition from you initially? I'm assuming that you didn't have any space and you were just doing it all online. Then you kind of was doing it at a boutique where you had a shared space, and now transitioning into your own space. Kind of walk us through that in your mind, and also some of the decisions that led to each of those. So
I started off technically on Instagram doing online, and then I did pop-ups here and there while still doing Instagram. It was good. Mostly customers were from like different states. They weren't from Maryland. And then it turned into, I had Maryland, like a lot of Maryland customers. So I used to meet them in the parking lot at Security Square Mall. And I was like, okay, this don't really look necessarily like professional or good, but I did it for a couple of years until I joined AO Boutique. And even then I would meet the customers there. And then I did that for, I think it's been like a year and a half or 2 years that I was with them. And I kind of always wanted my own space, but I kind of didn't think it was possible. So I just stayed in the store, and I stayed by myself first, and I stayed at the store because I just like, I don't need my own space. But I need my own space when I'm with, like, I'm part of a group. But then the opportunity came about that I could have my own space. I said, well, it's either now or never. Even though I'm terrified and I don't know if I'm going to succeed or not, I might as well go ahead and do it. So now we're here.
What happened between I didn't think it was possible? Because this is what a lot of entrepreneurs, like, I didn't think it was possible, to, hey, the opportunity presents itself and I'm ready to jump. What was in that decision-making process?
I had somebody who offered to invest in me and to get me into this location. And I was still kind of like on the fence of, do I really want to jump and leap and go on my own? Or do I still want to be like in the safety of numbers based being in the group? And that was a lot of discussion, a lot of talking to people about, well, should I go or should I stay, or should I go and stay? But ultimately, it was like, you might as well just go out on your own, see if you can do it. Well, hopefully I will succeed and everything will be good. This to me this space is more of a reflection of like who I am as an artist and what I want to show you. Eventually,
what do you want to show us, Miss RaRa?
I'm just saying it's more of like, you walk to the space and you automatically it's RaRa. It's RaRa space. Out there, I kind of just had a wall. Out here, it's more like you come in and you're just surrounded by art.
Do you think you have a certain style? Like, if somebody's like, hey, that is your work, do you have a certain artistic style or flair, or do you try to leave a little something of yourself in each work that you do? Or is it pretty much just every work is just different and you're not really thinking about that?
People say I have a style. I don't think I have a style. I kind of just paint. I don't really see what people see, because I feel like everything I make is like a different style depending on like how I'm feeling that day or something. Like, even my painting it's not the same style. It might be the same kind of like detailed and neatness and precision, but it's not the same style. I don't have a style. I just paint.
is there a difference between doing like right now you do a lot of kind of detailed work. Have you done any like more abstract work or just like general work instead of like an actual detailed representation of something?
For me, I don't know why abstract work is hard. Like I don't understand it. Cause to me, kind of like abstract is kind of like it you're kind of like free with what you do. And with me, I can't paint like that. Like I've done abstract stuff, but it's
Yeah.
kind of been hard to do because I
Mm.
need like a direction to go into. Like even when people will tell me like, okay, freestyle stuff, I'm like, okay, well, freestyle what? Because what do you want? I don't know what I'm supposed to be freestyle. Some artists can do that and it comes out amazing. I'm not one of them.
Yeah. Everybody has their skill set. So we get into your verse, your lesson. So this is a session where I like to have something from our guest to leave an impact. Obviously, you're doing great things, and for you, you're growing. You are making an impact and mark. And this, you've probably had some adversity, some challenges, some trials. And a lot of times, people have either a song or a scripture or a part of a movie that they might have used or attached to as they were going through some of this stuff. Do you have something where anything, it could be from the culture, it could be from the Bible, it could be from a movie that you really kind of have an affinity for?
So a while ago, my mother I think she was at the Goodwill or something, and she found this like plaque sign thing, and it says, "Don't blend in when you were born to stand out." So that's kind of like
Mm.
what's been the thing that's keeping me pushing and going forward. And she kind of reminds me of that all the time too.
Oh, I like that. I like that. And that's something that a lot of people, I think they're afraid to stand out. But the people who stand out are the people who are really making a difference.
Hmm.
But it's much easier to blend in. How was your relationship with money growing up? So now you have, you're a business entrepreneur, you are an artist, you are doing a lot of things where you are financially independent. You're not working for a W 2 or anything. How was
Hmm.
your relationship with money growing up? Did you talk about money growing up? Growing up, did you have a lot of jobs? Did you feel confident about money?
I don't really remember like conversations regarding money. Probably not until I got my first job. Even then, it was kind of like, okay, I'll get paid every 2 weeks. It doesn't really matter if I, just go blow it because it's gonna come back. And then I guess from that experience to now, I know it's more important to not just take all your money and just blow it and spend on everything. Some people like live above their means.
Mhm.
I guess I kind of was like that when I had a full-time job. Now I'm more responsible because I know it might not necessarily come back as quickly as I need to come back.
Mhm.
So I'm more about saving and being cautious. And most of the expenses I had now are just business. Like, that's basically what I spend the majority of my money on is business.
Mm.
But growing up, I had probably a couple of jobs after I quit my government job. They never stuck. Every time I get a job, for some reason I don't stay because I guess I know that that's not my calling. I'm not supposed to be
Mm.
in like a structured 9 to 5. Because I've done everything from I had a government job. I had a job for one day at the airport. I babysat, I dog sit, I nannied, I worked at Target. But none of those jobs, like I didn't like it. Or I stayed enough and I'm like, okay, well the management is acting funky, so I'ma just leave.
Mhm.
Um, that's pretty much it.
I'm gonna give you an opportunity to speak it into existence.
Okay.
5 years from now and 10 years from now, where would you want to see RaRa?
I wanna have probably like an actual physical storefront where like you can walk in off the street and like right now I'm in a suite, but I think I want an actual storefront. I want to be able
Mhm.
to my initial goal when I started this was to be big enough to then I can help other artists like have a job. Like you come to me and know the children and get a salary because we have X amount of like clients and customers coming in. That's the ultimate goal. So if that happens with 5 years, cool. If not, it's okay.
What is the Baltimore art scene like, and how have you been into that?
I'm not. Not. There is some artists that I follow who they're in the art scene. They're visible. They're doing things. They're collaborating with each other. I'm kind of like I'm in my own little bubble. I'm gonna do me. For me personally, I would rather I target more out of state than in state. I'm not really like I'm popular in Texas, and I don't even live in Texas. But I'm not in the Baltimore art scene at all. It's bad because I should be because I live here, but I'm not.
Okay. Did you have like a big client in Texas, and then all of a sudden you think that word of mouth got spread, or how do you think that kind of just developed?
I think that's from doing grad caps. Cause every year I get clients from Texas with grad caps. It's and or just like random people that don't not random people who want stuff other than grad caps. Like for some reason I became more popular in different states than in Maryland. Like I get customers in California or Texas, or like Florida, New York. I'm trying to do the opposite. I'm trying to reel people in Maryland in there because I kind of focus on I'm gonna get people from all over. But now I'm trying to get Maryland customers. Okay.
All right, that's good. If you had to put yourself into 3 words, who is RaRa?
Oh gosh. Well, for one, I'm shy. People don't know that, but I'm very shy at times. I guess I'm shy, artistic, and I can be difficult.
Do you think because sometimes you're shy, you're able to express yourself through your art?
I don't think so. Maybe not, but I don't think so.
And do you think being shy has ever impacted your Naomi Osaki, the tennis player? She's very shy. I don't know if you know, she is the girlfriend of Corday, who lives around here from this area. And there was a story about she was standing right beside Jay-Z and she was like scared to say anything, and she said it like oh my God, I could have just said something, and I was just so shy I couldn't just do it. Have there been opportunities they always say closed mouth don't get fed? Like you was like, hey, I could have done some things and I just didn't do it in the moment.
Oh yes, a lot of times that I'm like I should have done that, but it's just like even with certain opportunities of like interviews or whatnot, or just walking up to somebody and saying, hey, I do this. Even at vending events, I'm not the one. Some people are like in your face, like, come look at this, and I just stay in my corner. It probably hasn't helped my success, but I just take it as it is because that's just who I am. I'm not a person that's gonna be in your face. I'd rather you come in and look, and then if you have, I'll talk to you. If you talk to me, I'll say hi and whatever, but I'm not one that's like throwing my work at you.
How have you been able to succeed despite being shy? Because a lot of people would say, well, you can't be successful, you can't be an entrepreneur, you can't be an artist, especially if you were shy.
You can, because I'm doing it. Like even like, so some people be on social media and they're like all in the videos talking about it, but I do the opposite. I show you my work instead of it being necessarily about me. Every now and then I'll throw my face in the video or something. For the most part, you're not gonna see me. But it's worked out. I still became somewhat successful. Now, other people say I need to like be more like outgoing and stuff. But I'm like, but that's not me. It's not even gonna first of all, it's not even gonna happen. That's just not my personality. It's never my personality. Like even as a kid, I was the baby who somebody said hi to me, I'm turning my head away because I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Once you come in, I'm friendly. Like I'll speak, I'll say hi and whatever. I'm cool, but it's just the initial up. I'm not about to shove my stuff in your face. You have to come into my space.
But I think that's authentic though, and that connects with a lot of people because Issa Rae developed the whole series off of being insecure, right? So it was something enough that she's like, I'm not the only one who has this experience, and I was able to connect. So I think there's a lot in that as well. So I just want to thank you so much. Obviously, I first came across your material. You just happened to like one of the posts that I did with my daughter, but then I saw your page, and then I was like, oh, I really like your stuff. So I was able to get a couple pieces. So I really enjoy your work. I enjoy what you do, and I enjoy who you are as well, because there are not a lot of minority women who are empowered and who are confident and who are authentically themselves to grow a business, start a brand, create a platform. And sometimes I want to use this or the platform I'm growing to celebrate people like that, and to also allow my daughters, I have 3 daughters, to see what they can be and not feel limited. A lot of times I think people feel limited in what they can and cannot do. And sometimes people feel like they have to stay in the mold, do the 9 to 5, do something else. And you clearly have shown us that there is a path to success outside of being a 9 to 5. And there's a path to being authentically you. You became an artist. People initially thought, you want to do graphic design and a computer, and you're like, I don't know if I want to do that. And you kind of, change that as well. So thank you for taking the opportunity to come on this platform. And I look to hopefully getting some work from you again at some point in the future.
So we good. You gotta come and stop past and see the space in person.
Definitely. I look forward to doing that. I'm gonna bring the whole crew through, so it's gonna be all of us up in there.
That's fine.
Bye, fans. Thanks for all that time. On Failure by Daddy, Jordan, and Devon and Mommy.
Okay.
And Mommy.
Who's got my back?
I got your back.
Who's got my back?
Who got that swag?
Who got that swag?
I got that swag. I work it off.
Okay.
Purpose to make this life worth it. Through the joy and pain, you gotta keep searching. Living life, no regrets. Ain't no shoulda, woulda, coulda, had an altar. Still been a minute since I've been up at the altar.
Thank you for listening to Family Abide. Make sure to subscribe in order to catch future episodes. Family Abide is available on all your favorite podcast outlets. Remember, life is not just about family. It's not just about wealth. It's about building people and communities that endure without yielding. Always choose your abundance beyond insecurities, debts, and entanglements. The next generation is depending on us. Remember your purpose. Sow your grind and watch it grow. Thank you for joining us on Family Abide.
Sow your grind.
Everybody need love. I'm tired of my problems, I'm tired of the drama, I'm tired of the pressure from my mama and my papa. I'm tired of the pain, I'm tired of the rain, I'm tired of the hurting, I'm tired of the working, I'm tired of the struggling, I'm tired of the hustling. I'm so sick and tired of having nothing.
Jam, you got something to say?
But after that, I'll turn when you wait.
Yeah, I think it's good developing daddy-daughter relationships.